Good morning to everyone. Welcome to PragatiE Vichaar, Break the Bias. Hi everyone, today we have Trasvin with us and we are extremely honored to have her today for the PragatiE Vichaar, Break the Bias on the occasion of International Women's Day. This year, International Women's Day appeals the women to break the bias and celebrate gender equality. Resonating with the same theme, Frontlist has organized today's PragatiE Vichaar, Break the Bias to celebrate the strong women personalities in the publishing industry. On behalf of Frontlist, I welcome you, Trasvin, for this show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Trasvin is the owner and founder of Silkworm Books and the founder of Mekon Press and Mekon Press Foundation. Trasvin founded Silkworm Books in 1991. Silkworm Books is a general independent publisher of English language books in Thailand and Southeast Asia. It is the only Thai publisher that distributes its publications in North America and the UK through an agreement with the University of Washington Press. In 2005, with the external funding from the Rockefeller Foundation, Trasvin founded Mekon Press, which became Mekon Press Foundation in 2008, to support publishing activities in the Greater Mekong sub-region and to establish a network of publishers in the region. She has served as a judge for several national publication design competitions, and since 1989, she has been actively supporting adherence to copyright law in Thailand. In 2008, she became a member of the International Publishers Association Freedom to Publish Committee and has become one of its active members. It's an absolute pleasure to Trasvin to have you here on the occasion of International Women's Day.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
So we'll begin with the interview, and my first question to you would be, so Trasvin, as the founder of the Silkworm Books, the only independent Thai publisher which distribute books in North America and the UK, what type of challenges have you as a woman faced in the industry?
Not really in my case, because for the background that Thailand women has space in trading even before it became a modern nation state. A female poet living during the mid or the late 19th centuries, the only female that commissioned to compose story in different occasions, wrote a life of another woman, a widower, who took over her late husband's business, sell and purchase goods in South China City, and brought back and resold it in Bangkok. In the north where I came from was another kingdom back then. Women has to trade too. In the feudal system, male were served like 6 months per year to their lords or recruit to the army in wartime. So women has to do everything, economy works and household work, and also it's a female line that inherit the properties. But when Siam or Bangkok took over Lanao, Chiang Mai, things changed, the law changed, and it became more patriarchal society. I never experienced the intimidation among peers. It could be that I began to work with a university press where people are liberal and sensitive. However, when I was growing up, our family also a newspaper and magazine distributor in Upper North Thailand. My father passed away when he was only 49. So the business became a women's run. My mother and my sister, have to handle everything. So the publisher representative, which were all male, of course, didn't like to working with us. My mother and our sister didn't hang out with them, took them to drinks or to, what you call it, sponsored a brothel visit or something like that. So it was those days that we never feel easy. And when I was working in Bangkok for the brief period in a trading company, I have to call and, talk to factories and with male staff. When they heard of my name and my voice, their voice changed. There's some indication that it's almost like harassing, that kind of flirting, which is so unprofessional, which seems to be common, but I really dislike it. So what I did was I changed my personal name from the very sissy female type to something which never exists in Thai name and confuse people and practice to, say something like almost rude, but it's work. People just shock and start to sort of try to adjust and doing things. So that was kind of nice, but not in publishing. But I'm sure that there must be cases which unpleasant for women. But most of the staff, but if we look at in publishing arena, people who work in publishing company, most of them are female in editorial, sales department, rights department. The sales department probably have more males, but rights department mostly are women. So you don't sort of encounter with male counterpart. But of course, why we have publisher here, that because, women, there were very few women to have the top job. Yes. That's it.
Yeah, great, thank you. So you are a member of the publisher community, and how do you think it is helping women in the publishing industry?
On personal level, we have to boost an individual confidence to, clarify that gender has nothing to do with the job. So no matter what department she belongs to, she can do anything like her male counterpart or her male colleagues. On the organization level, encouragement, if not demanding, the management to provide equal opportunity and pay for all genders. However, sometimes even the business owner offer a chance for female employee. Still, the employee may have a family reason not to accepting the offer. For example, if she had children and her husband requests her to sacrifice taking care of his children so he can advance in his position, it mostly worked that way. The mother will have to, okay, forget about my ambitions, my career, and let the husband do it. Well, you have to really have what you call it, an HR who really sort of, of course, not to intervene their family matters, but say that, is that really what you want? And have you been calculated that if you advance together and share responsibility in taking care of children, would that be better, instead of let one sacrifice and another go ahead, get ahead with things. So, but a lot of women still like, being a fairy godmother or something, sacrificed. And at the end of the day, if life change, if position change, if nothing become as they expected, women suffer more. So I think it has to be really careful and understanding. But nevertheless, the management has to offer and try to not forget it. Whether they accept or not, that's another story.
Fair enough. So the second women in over 100 years to sit on IPA's Freedom to Publish Committee and an active member too. What type of changes or guidance you shall provide to the women in the association?
Well, guidance, not really, but you have to be an exemplar. You have to step out. You have to, many people are volunteers now, but when I was, but just to correct this information, actually, I was the second woman who's elected on board, the executive board first, and then I joined the Freedom to Publish committee later. So at the time, I didn't think much, when I stand for the elections, and when it was elected, then I realized that, I was the second person second woman. And that's kind of strange. What happened to other women before me or other peers, that they are equally good or even better? Where are they? Why not they join? But before we didn't have a long time to ask these questions, because at the time when I became the board member, IPA leadership at the time unanimously agree that we have to recruit more women. We have to encourage them to step out, willing to run and serve. And the company, if they're professional, if they're not the owner, their company should support them like they support all the male staff to serve the community. So we had a lot of progress on this improvement. Now we have a lot of female board members. We have in each committee have an equal genders members. And now we even have the president and vice president women. So I think we did good. But we have a commitment to encourage our association members that they should also recruit more women, encourage them, and give them space. It's not an old boys club anymore. So let's put it that way. But in everything, I think we have to concern about the society and the cultural context. Some culture, women probably more shy, not used to hang out. Publisher hang out a lot, I think and some people are just, this is nonsense, I'm not comfortable with it, or we can probably have hen parties, but that's not networking. We still need to hang out and not to be shy about it. And to be honest, when I became publisher and started attending Frankfurt frequently, I start to drinking more. It's just like the first time when you're getting to hang out, you don't know what to do or you don't know what to speak. And I don't like small talk. So drinking is not bad, that to kill times, to think about it or pretend that you're listening. But now it's not an issue. So a few first time you might feel awkward or uncomfortable, but you have to, try. And once you're beginning to familiar with faces, you have more friends, acquaintance, then it's much easier. You learn.
Right.
And I think for a person like me, if I hang out and I see one shy younger woman in one corner, I should go and sort of bring her in. That's our duty. That don't let anyone stand in a corner and hiding. Bring them out. Introduce them to people. Comfort them. Being their friends. That's our job.
No, absolutely well said. And I must say that IPA in recent time has made a significant improvement, and they have really achieved in bringing a lot of women leaders on the board and the elected members as well. Trasvin, what inspired you to start your own publishing company?
Ooh. Well, it's a destiny. I was born and grew up in my parents' bookstore. I could read before school, and book is everything to me. It's opened up everything. That was, half a century, 60 years ago. So, and in this remote city in the valley, I thought I know the word, getting all the fantasy, learn everything from reading. And then I studied book design and typography. So it's a destiny that I want to do books. reading more the youth and adults to dream of the better society. And I was a teen. It was an exciting time in Thailand. We had freedom at the time, have a short life democracy. But then everyone is and reading changed people. So I want to do a book. And when I start, it was because it was the dawn of Thailand tourism promotion. Most of the English book that my parents' bookstore sells was written by Westerner, published by UK or US publishing company. And you feel like, why does people who live outside Thailand can write about us and know about us better than us? We should present it, our own story. So that when I pick up publishing, it just happened. And I got stuck, of course.
Great. So as you've mentioned that you wish to write a book, so we would love to have the copy when you will be writing that book, and our best wishes are there with you for that.
Yes, I would love it very much. Actually, I start, but I never have time to sort of continue. It's like up to chapter 3 or something.
But I do hope I'm sure like whenever you get time, we'll soon have that.
I hope so too. Thank you.
So moving on this. So on this International Women's Day, how do you think you're doing to break the bias, the theme of 2022, and how you shall continue to do so?
Well, first thing, you have to try hard to be an exemplar. When I was still working with my family bookstore, my sister, the boss, didn't have the equal pay policy. So we fought and fought. And I lost, of course, always. So when I have my own company, I don't do what I dislike. You have to do what you preach. Even in your sleep, you have to dream what you preach. You can't dream other ways, no way. So that's the first thing. I don't laugh when I hear a sexist joke, and I speak up whenever I have the opportunity to correct people, even though they're going to dislike me, they're going to not to invite me to the party anymore. It's fine, but you have to speak. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's healed. It just takes time for people to used to something that they uncomfortable with or think they could get away with it. It's sad because in the 70s or 80s or even the 90s, feminists used to be sort of called a rude woman, but it's not. It just speaks something that people didn't get used to or didn't want to hear. And I think men has to be more open-minded. They have to be concerned that, if they're in our position, what you do. What I always like this when I saw some men post, I'm sure you have seen it, like some men a Westerner, wear a skirt and high heel shoes, and he said he's comfortable with it. Don't laugh at him. He might really like it because I like wearing men clothes too, because they're comfortable, and I like it. So I don't mind people dress differently. They have the rights to, as long as they're not stealing somebody else's clothes. Yeah. Be exemplar. Do what you preach.
Everyone has the right to express themselves the way they want.
Exactly.
So moving on. So it's said that Thailand as a country is not for readers. What are you doing for the generation, especially women, to start reading?
Actually, we are improving. The Publisher and Bookseller Association of Thailand had a statistic show that women bought more books more than men. But what they read, it's might not of quality. I don't know, maybe just romance and, Mills and Boons things. But however, it's the studies based on Bangkok population. We still have a lot of women in the provincial that can't afford the book or even can't really read properly. And we have to promote libraries and, I know that some of my colleagues is trying to, but everyone is using mobile phone now. So we try to create an app that promote reading and make it more challenging, like gaming in that sense. Because there were studies show that the more mothers read, the better they can raise their children. So women education and promote reading among women is important. They might need a reading group and things. But you see, women in Thailand work very hard. I mean, for earning. They might sell, have a store, or working in the agricultural fields. By the time they get home, they don't have an energy to study or to read anything. During the pandemic, it's harder because I think most women realize that when they need to help their children study online, and if they cannot read, they cannot help their children, they grow and frustrating and things. I think we have to take this opportunity, to turn it to the worst to the better, than say that we need to have an ad hoc or something to teach adult to read, so they know that it's going to help their children. That's probably the big, what you call it, intensive or encouragement point that going to promote reading. But of course, we have to find enjoyable stories too. You just can't make them read something that you don't want to read and throw books away in a minute. Have to make it simple. I haven't come up with the real plan, but we have been talking to a group of publishers that how we're going to increase it. One Thai publisher who a publisher of preschool children start to have a group of mothers to discuss it on social media and introducing how to use book and reading and things. So that probably part of the plan. But we have to do more. Not only in Thailand, I think in the whole Southeast Asia.
Okay. Because it's an important aspect, and the reading and the education plays a vital role in creating a knowledgeable society in the country that way.
Exactly. Yeah, agree.
Yeah. So Trasvin, publisher, the community, the forum is completing its 4 year in March. How do you think it is doing the break the bias in the publishing industry and provide viable solutions to the many gender-based inequities that have long characterized world publishing and the other creative industries?
The publisher community are growing, but it is too soon to say what we are trying to do is bearing fruits. Because the pandemic time make things difficult, and we don't see, it's hardly to measure the result yet. But I think we are doing going into the right directions. I hope that as soon as that we can traveling again, visit or have a more working group face to face, because right now it's just the online chatting. We had some mentor programs and we can't check the result yet, or so I mean we have to do more for sure. We have been encouraging people, we talk, but there are more to do to get there. I think it's too soon. It's still a big task for us.
I'm sure the
But
way has been created, and just because of the pandemic, things may have stalled, but the spirit remains the same, and things will move on soon.
right. And however, the publisher are a band of intelligent people, and most of us are open-minded and willing to change. So I still have high hope on changing and improving things. It just take longer than we were expecting, and that's all. But everything takes long. Making one book take longer than we think. So
It is
I'm
wisely said that slow and steady wins the race, and I'm
yes.
sure the publisher is working in that direction.
As long as you keep walking, it doesn't matter that it's slow. You get there. Just don't stop walking, and don't walk backward.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So, Trasvin, you touched on, we discussed certain core issues across the global publishing industry, the solutions, the challenges you suffered, how you overcame. It's really an inspirational for all of us.
I hope so, and anything I can do to support, help. Just
And at Frontlist, we were very keen to do today's event for the International Women's Day and bring the heard and the unheard voices from the industry, because we strongly believe that the dialogue and the interaction will have, will have a reactions for across the globe and within the industry, not within the global publishing industry, and also across the different verticals we deal in.
yes. I think this is absolutely fantastic, and I wish you a successful event, and I'm looking forward to
Thank you. Thank you,
tell you
Trasvin.
more on other occasions.